So now that EU4 is sort of in its maintenance phase, how long do you think it will be before we get an EU5? I remember making a, in retrospect, embarrassing video about how I thought EU5 would be announced in 2020, because I thought legitimately Emperor was going to be the last patch. I thought they were like, you know what, we're going to redo a lot of the game systems, we're going to revamp a lot of mechanics, and then we're going to leave it be. Exactly like what they did with Holy Fury, with CK2. And Holy Fury was the last DLC. I thought that was going to be the same thing for Emperor. Little did I know exactly how much they wanted to milk out of the game. I was a little naive, I guess, in my expectations, thinking that that would be the last game. But of course, if there is money to be made, then there is work to be done, and the game was updated up till now, obviously. But I genuinely think that there is almost nothing left to update in EU4. Now some people will say, oh, you can update the mission trees for like back when Cradle of Civilization was dropped. Oh, you can give this country a mission tree, you can give this country a mission tree. But eventually, there's not much you can shove into a DLC that hasn't already been shoved into a DLC. Like, what are they gonna do next? Like, alright, let's drop a 4th DLC for like South America, like, like for the Americas, in this case South America, because they had like Conquest of Paradise, they had El Dorado, like, oh yeah, let's drop a 3rd one. And then, you know, they could drop an entire DLC just for Scandinavia, but that would be pretty bad, because there are like 4 countries in Scandinavia, so they can't just drop that as a DLC. I genuinely think there are very limited possibilities for another actual paid content pack. Okay, well no, I'm wrong. There aren't limited opportunities, there are limited community acceptable opportunities. Ones that won't immediately get massive hate by the community. You could always drop a Scandinavia DLC for $25 that has literally 3 mission trees and that's it, but you would get a lot of hate for it. So I don't think it's a safe idea, and they probably won't do that. I reckon EU5 will be announced soon. Not wanting to add more provinces seems to me like they're focusing on a new engine to work with how provinces work. Yeah, I think the engine itself is one of the limitations for what you can do with EU. I think Europa Universalis has a lot more to gain from a system that they're using in Victoria 3, like the fractured provinces, like the treaty ports and stuff like that. EU5 either this year or next. I think there would be like, I think they would definitely announce like EU5 either this year or next. I think this year is fairly likely because some people have speculated that Vic 3 is going to be dropping in March, but I don't think that's true. I think it's like, it's too early for Vic 3 to be dropping. They said they've been working on this for years. Now, obviously, EU4 is almost on its 10th anniversary. Obviously, they're going to be working on EU5 for quite some time by this point anyway, right? So it's possible they could drop Vic 3, then the next year they drop EU5. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like EU5 is definitely going to be like a release in late 2023. I think we're just going to be on maintenance mode for a while. And we'll have to get real creative with our content. Us streamers and video makers, we're gonna have to get real creative with what we do just to stay alive, but you know. I think Vic 3 is gonna drop soon enough to save us, unless it becomes a failure like Imperator, and that would suck. God, I hope Vic 3 is good. The only one concern I have with Vic 3 is like, how internal focused it is and how much people don't care about that stuff. When it comes to content, people are like really into stuff that's obvious and very visible, and that is most reflected in big wars, owning a lot of land, and flashy stuff, like massive battles, owning the entire world, that kind of thing. But Victoria is not about that. Victoria is not about world conquests and just fighting all the time. Victoria is very much like politics driven, which is more down low, not very, I guess, visible stuff that it's harder to sell to an audience.